Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Future Tech Podcast. It's me, Charlie Sell, Group MD at Major Group, where I get a chance to speak to thought leaders, technology leaders, people passionate about STEM careers and who make careers within the wider STEM community. I'm really pleased to have Netanel Eliav, and I apologize if I don't get it totally right, Netanel.
It's perfectly fine. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Who is a director of R&D at Cinemedia? Cinemedia is one of these broadcasting media giants that sit behind the global broadcasting that specialises in everything from cyber and data and AI. And I'm sure Netanel will tell us a bit more about them as a business. But equally, he's the co-founder of Sitebit, and I think I can hand on heart say a genuine AI thought leader. So knowing that AI, artificial intelligence, data is such a big part of the future of technology, I'm really interested to hear Nathaniel's thoughts on how he got into it and also just about that industry as a whole and leadership within that. So without further ado, Nathaniel, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. Thank
Yeah,
you, Charlie.
let's jump straight in and tell us about your career. How did you get into technology and a bit about your story?
Okay, how I get to technology? It's very interesting. So it's right from the beginning. First of all, I burned with a computer in my hands. In the time that computers was so expensive, I remember 386 and IBM and those floppy disks and that keep breaking on you and so on. So I begin over there to be kind of enthusiast about technology and computer science. In the days of hacking to the US universities in goal to have the smallest Google Drive kind of things to be able to download things. And I find myself in the university studies economics instead of computer science because I was good at that. So I imagined to learn something else would be better. But then I keep going to to work for major companies. One of them was Strauss Group. It's commercial company. It's not a tech company. Back then, you have many companies. Nothing was a high tech companies like Intel. You have just couple of them, but that's it. So I began my journey working as a kind of project manager. One of the position was in Intel, all about technology and data and information technology per se. Afterward, I moved to work for the Prime Minister office in Israel. And when somebody say that the Prime Minister office in Israel, I mean not the Prime Minister itself, it's one of the organization under his wing as a technology specialist in a goal and in the mindset of developing many things and small things to be used once and forget about it after. So you have many mini projects all over the place. It's not just machine learning or AI or cybersecurity. It's everything. It's even include UI. I left the Prime Minister office just to establish a startup company called Cybit. It's a company that the main goal for us as the founders was to develop the SOTA technology to save lives in aquatic environments and sites as much as we can, elders, children, and everything from computer science, the simple one, meaning just a UI and if so kind of formulas to advanced deep learning algorithm and model to detect small children for 500 meters with the simplest Chinese camera that you can find on off the shelf. This
Wow.
is the company save lives. It's a rough business, I have to say. I was the CDO and the CEO, and I stepped down a little bit just to provide the lead to my other co-founder. and I joined Synomedia as the director R&D for data and analytics product. But of course, there is more products to Synomedia besides what I managed. I'm expert, I have to say, if I have to say, in AI and data. But nowadays, AI is so widely that I'm surely not expert in everything. It's more on the machine learning, deep learning, computer vision kind of things. Nowadays, there is the ChatGPT, NLP, all those language, big, huge models that cost millions to process and so on. But again, this is the ecosystem. So this is my experience, my history, from the sub 7 Merck journey, ICQ kind of things, to the recent trying to compete with ChatGPT as a side project. So this is who I am.
Yeah, wow. And well, what a journey! What a journey! And I think what's lovely about that, and what you were just explaining to us, is you've had variety in your career as well. From, as you said, from working for the office of the prime minister and having to do absolutely everything, and a lot of the time having projects that probably didn't get across the line because it was
Yeah,
never really to for an end goal, all the way through to then setting up your own business, your startup, where you really had a strong passion and a purpose for it. And it sounds amazing, side bits.
thank you.
So
Yeah,
also working for a large, very well established business, having to try and compete with global players. And as you said, within the world of AI, we have some, Microsoft and Google and Amazon all have
yeah,
incredibly deep pockets to be able
right.
to get to the market.
Yeah.
So talk to me a bit about, a lot of our listeners, they're passionate. They hear a lot about AI now. It's in the news. It's very machine learning, large LLM, large language models. For you, why is it so interesting to be in that world? What is it about AI and within this world of data and analytics that makes it so exciting?
Okay. First of all, as a geek, it's all about Battlestar Galactica, Terminator kind of things. We want to build something that to control everyone else. I be honest, this is the geek side, the child side that want to be involved in those things. The second thing is that because it's the next thing to have, it's the next, people invent. You remember that when the electricity being invented, afterward you can see millions of devices based on it. When computer science or computers be small enough to be used by all of us, you can see millions of softwares and apps. Same thing for the cell phone. Now it's about the artificial intelligence. Now this was back then just if so kind of things, formulas that use prior knowledge and mimic kind of artificial intelligence. But nowadays it's all about advanced statistics. But I'm sorry to ruin others. AI is not really AI still. It's a kind of super advanced statistics that every other human being can do, but it will take more time to calculate things and so on. So we're still in the advanced statistic era for the AI. We all want to move forward for the general AI kind of things to be actually be able to train itself to be better than human and so on. This is what we want to achieve, everyone in the industry. I think along the way you have a huge big pocket or deep pocket. um, so you see a lot of startups doing or having exits or develop the next big thing. You see the news invest in this or the crypto, so it depend on the day. So many articles, it's about that. So yeah, it's great to be in the front, to be in the frontier, to have the opportunity to make a killing, or gain huge wage. It depending on what company and so on, and to achieve our dream from young.
Yeah. Well, I really love that as an explanation as well, where
Yeah,
you're right. When people talk about AI, there is two lenses. There's that kid version of,
No.
Skycorp and the Terminator and self-automated robots and all the rest of it. And then
Yeah.
there's, as you say, the other side, which is big business algorithms, large language models, how to, and as you say, it's about capacity of infrastructure and data rather than actual
Yeah.
self learning at the moment. And although that's where you want to go to, obviously. And so, thinking about the world that you've stepped into, and you're running these DevOps teams, UI teams, the data science teams within Sona Media within your division. Talk
Yeah.
to me a bit about the leadership. What's it like? You know, trying to drive a culture within technology and within the teams that you run.
Okay, great. So it depends what the person want to achieve. Me, I'm seeing myself as a leader and less as a boss. There is the good thing in that and the bad things. Um, and only because I'm usually find myself trying to achieve something that nobody achieved before, and I need the people around me, the developers, everyone, the partners, to be with me on this journey more than to have experience or anything else. Because to have experience will end when you figure out that it will be worthless, because you're going to figure out that it never did it. So you're less afraid because you're senior and it's great and you know what to do. But mostly it's important to have the motivation now to the tech person and have his 120% of his time, meaning that he's going to invest more than it should be. You cannot act as a boss. You need to be his friend, his mentor. You need to learn from him, because 5 minutes after you provide him whatever task he should do, 5 minutes after, you already know more than I am, or you are, or whatever. So this is very important to know. So when you are a boss, you usually know less, and I don't like it. First of all, I'm feeling bad about it, but whatever. So when I lead people, I'm first of all try to guide them, teach them, but learn from them also. Um, so in Cinemedia, for example, it's a big corporate that it's a old fashioned way to develop things. It's not a startup. It's a slow, big moving machine. So you need to align with a lot of processes. It's slow, but it's kind of, let's be on the safe side kind of thing. You have many people that already over there 10 years, 15 years. It's for the Y generation, it sounds unbearable, right? More than 5 years to be in the same location, and you need to manage them. Sometimes you have someone 55 years old and you just 35 years old, 37 years old. You need to manage them. So nobody can be a boss. We can be, but for short term, only to achieve one goal, one mission, and that's it, one task. If you want to develop the next author, you need somebody to eventually to be smarter than you are, better than you are, and you just join his journey and not vice versa. This is how I'm seeing this kind of managing a lot of people in the startup. For example, when you establish a startup, you doing everything. You need to buy the monitor, you need to connect the HDMI cable, to set the desk for the developer, just to make sure that they're not gonna raise, a question about your company. And day after, you need to show them that you know what you're doing in the AI or machine learning. And 2 months after, they're going to understand what you know and what you are don't have a clue about. So you cannot play pretend about those things. In the big company, you need to know everything about legal and how to manage people that don't know. And there is strict rules, right? In the UK, in Israel, United States. Um, in the prime minister office, you just need to be in secret, right? And you cannot say anything about what you do daily and what you achieved. So nobody will never know about it. So it's many different style of management, but the core is to understand that you are not managing anyone. You're just a partner of many others, and you hope that they going to accept you as a leader regarding the knowledge in the regarding who is the smartest in the room, or just regarding, because this is what we decided to have. You are the manager, we are the developers, and we're glad that you are the manager, that to suffer from the rest of the day when we just coding. So this is, I can talk all day about it, but I think it's enough. But this is exactly what I think about management.
Yeah, well, and again, that what I really, really appreciate about that comment, and I can't agree with you more, is around we talked about leadership being, you definitely should not be the cleverest person in the room. I
Yeah.
think that, I use this very old analogy of leaders will always hire people better than them. Managers will always hire people lower than them, and that's
Yeah.
and that's a key difference I feel. Where a manager or a boss is worried about their job, or they're having the wrong, they want to be always being seen as the top. A leader lets people flourish around them. They want people to grow, and so the fact that's so authentic to your style is just so refreshing.
Thank you.
So time has flown by as always, and so let's move on to to one of the main parts of our podcast, which is that all important career advice to our listeners. And so, can you give us just two or three tips when you've been interviewing or just thinking about how young people can get a foot in the door? What one or two, three things could you advise our listeners to really stand out or get that advantage?
So first of all, I know what junior. I hope that I know what junior feel nowadays. That from one side, the people looking for 10 years experience and want pay less, but you cannot gain the experience because you don't have a chance. So first of all, this opportunity, the opportunity itself will come eventually. There is a huge I'm seeing list on junior requirement and job seeking, and names on names, but eventually the opportunity will come. Now this is first. Second, remember that it's not important if your first position will be in Google. This will be just the first position, so you need to invest your time to learn. You need to do your best to be the best, or not in the room, just yourself. But remember that this is only one station in a long journey. And again, people being hired by Google and resign. You imagine? Yes, it makes sense because nobody wants to be in those huge companies. People want to open startups and so on. The third thing is that, and this is only for me, don't think about being promoted in your company. It's gonna ruin your adventure or journey in the same company. If you just join a company and after 6 months thinking about how to be the manager, how to be the team lead, how to no, it's gonna ruin your entire journey to learn and have a great and to be a great partner, a co-worker. Don't think about it. Just don't think. When the time will come, you will know it, and then you're going to have two options: to leave the company or to be promoted. And don't afraid to leave the company, because when somebody climb a mountain, it takes the easy slope, right? And it will never be in the direct line to the top, right? Because it will be easy to move to the side. So my journey usually it's to do my best in one company, achieve all the things that I want to achieve, knowledge, experience, good friends, And then if there is the opportunity to be promoted, great. If not, move to other company. The only one that will not gain something of it is the manager that didn't promote you. So don't afraid to move to the other company. You will gain many, many things, because to stuck 20 years, please guys, don't do it. Don't stuck 20, 15, 10 years the same company. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for the company. So just move around this mountain and climb slowly, and don't afraid to change things. If you think that you like DevOps and after 3 years you hate it, you like you see those posts about AI, don't afraid, just learn and start again. The information and knowledge is for free today. And that's it. I think I hope that somebody will hear it and understand that the next position is just the next position. um, and if it wasn't promoted, it's usually that case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Netanel. I think those last points as well, and to have that fearless approach to just wanting to enjoy the journey and not worrying about constant promotions, and understanding that actually if you enjoy, do your best, commit, and actually think about being the best, as you said, to yourself, not necessarily to everyone else in the room,
Yeah.
you will flourish, won't you? And be fearless. I think that is such, to many of our listeners, that's something to really hold on to, and that's coming from a person who's had a very successful career with that mindset. So thank you, and
You're
there we
welcome.
go. Time has flown by as always.
Yeah.
So this leads me to say, well, first of all, a massive, massive thank you to our guest. So
Thank you.
Nathaniel, thank you for being on the podcast.
Likewise, I'm glad to be here, and thank you for the opportunity. And you and everyone else, please feel free just to, ping me about anything. I will be glad to know from you guys anything new, and just to share my knowledge. Um,
That's wonderful.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that offer. And to our listeners, so that is another episode of the Future Tech Podcast.
Thanks.
As many of you
Yeah.
know, it's shared with the STEM Ambassador Association, and it's also on the Major Group /podcast website, as well as shared across Spotify and Apple Play. So once of all, thank you to Netanel, and thank you
Thanks.
for everyone for listening to the show.
Yeah. Cheers.